Premise of this video is simple. I'm gonna answer the question, what does a Scrum Master do when the team can't get the job done? Obviously, we need to start by defining this term. What does it even mean, not getting the job done? That's why I'm gonna talk about 4 of the main reasons why your Scrum team might not be getting the job done. Starting with number 1. The sprint goal. As per the Scrum Guide 2020, the sprint goal is a single objective of a sprint, the top priority goal of a sprint, the most important goal of a sprint. The sprint goal is created by the Scrum team during the sprint planning event and added to the sprint backlog. During the sprint, while the developers are doing work, coding, they keep the sprint goal in mind because it's the most important, the single objective of a sprint. If the work turns out to be different, something needs to be changed in the sprint in terms of a sprint backlog. Work items added to the sprint backlog, removed from the sprint backlog. That's okay. We check with the product owner, we check with the team, and we make the change as long as it doesn't affect the sprint goal. So what do we do as a Scrum Master if the team is consistently not achieving their sprint goal? First, don't panic. It's completely normal, especially for a new Scrum team, to not be achieving their sprint goal every single sprint. It's normal. Remember, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what will happen in the sprint, if we will complete the goal or not, but we can predict the future. We can try to predict the future with all the information that we currently have. In the sprint planning, we work together to estimate the work, to prioritize the work, and predict what we think we might be able to complete in the next sprint in terms of user stories, in terms of features, in terms of tasks, in terms of bug fixing. With the information we currently have, we are making a prediction. That's what empiricism is all about. We are making an hypothesis. We believe that this thing will be true as long as this information that we currently have is true, as long as we work in a certain way, as long as we do these things. We are sort of experimenting with something and believe that we'll be successful if we do these things. That's an hypothesis. If by the end of a sprint we achieve a sprint goal, all good, the experiment is successful. Else we learn from that failure. The learnings are then taken up in the next sprint planning so that we can refine a little bit better our prediction of the next sprint goal. And lucky for you, we have a Scrum event to talk about these experiments that failed, these experiments that were successful, the sprint retrospective. Talk about that. Facilitate the sprint retrospective as a Scrum Master. Let the team tell you, let the product tell you why they believe they failed to achieve the sprint goal. They committed on a sprint goal. They were doing the work. They know why they didn't achieve the goal. Not you. As a Scrum Master, you shouldn't be assuming things. You shouldn't be telling them you didn't achieve a sprint goal for these reasons. That's what you need to do in the next sprint. You don't know. You're not doing the work. You didn't commit on the sprint goal. Let them tell you. Facilitate the session as a Scrum Master. Let them come up with the reasons why they believe they didn't achieve the sprint goals. And once you have these reasons, brainstorm ideas. They brainstorm the ideas. You facilitate the session. Again, all the solutions, all the things that they believe they can do in the next sprint, maybe in the next sprint planning, preparation for the next sprint planning to achieve, to get a better chance to achieve the next sprint goal. There's various reasons why we couldn't achieve a sprint goal. Maybe the servers weren't available, too many dependencies, people were working overtime, people took sick leaves, so many reasons. Let them come up with these reasons and the solutions. And the beauty here is when they come up with the reasons, when they come up with the solutions, they will feel accountable because it's their idea to solve this issue, to do better in the next sprint. As a Scrum Master, you just need to facilitate the session. Facilitation simply means making things easier, make it easier for them to experiment, to fail, to learn from the failures, and to take these learnings into the next sprint. Another very popular reason why Scrum teams can't get the job done is that they are not deploying to production, releasing to customers features, products every single sprint. Remember, as per the Scrum Guide 2020, every sprint we should be building a shippable increment of the product. Every single sprint we are working in an iterative way. way. We are building stuff every single sprint, increments of a product, releasing it to customers, getting feedback from customers and doing something better. We use this approach because we don't know what the customer wants. We don't know what will work. So we test the market, get feedback and do better in the next increment. That's why it's extremely important to be releasing every single sprint to get this feedback to do better in the next sprint. If the team can't do that, if the team can't release to customers every single sprint, there might be a few issues here. First, maybe the team is working still in this waterfall mindset, believing that they can't release to production right now because it's not perfect. We need all the features to be perfect in the product, even if it takes 1 year to develop the product. Now, let's take 1 year to develop the product and then release it to the customer. The problem here is that we are assuming that the customers would love using these features. How do we know? No crystal ball. Remember, we are making an hypothesis. We believe that the customer would love using these features, and we are taking 1 year to experiment, building this experiment for 1 year and then releasing it. What if the customer doesn't like these features? We just lost 1 year. With Scrum iterative approach, every single sprint, releasing small increments, getting feedback simply because we don't know if the customer will love it. We get the feedback and we build something better next sprint. Even if we fail, no one cares because we just lost a single sprint instead of 1 year of development. Another reason, very common reason why Scrum teams can't build this shippable increment every single sprint is that they are simply not aware. You can't imagine how many Scrum teams I've seen. They're not even aware that they should be building this shippable increment every single sprint. They believe that the only priority of a sprint is the sprint goal. And they just add bug fixing in the sprint goal, building these features in the sprint goal. They don't really care about releases. They do releases every 6 months, every year. Sorry, you're not doing Scrum. You're doing a version of a waterfall model. What I recommend doing here is ensuring that the team understands that they need to build this shippable increment every single sprint. And when they know they need to do it, if they still can't do it, talk about that in the sprint retrospective. Facilitate the session. Ask them questions. Why? Why can't we build this shippable increment every single sprint? Why can't we deploy it to production, to the customers? Let them come up with the solutions and ensure that they are accountable and they take their learnings in the next sprint. So we have a better chance of building this increment in the next sprint. And a key thing to remember, in the sprint review, the team is supposed to present this increment, show the stakeholders, the customers, managers, directors, what we built, what the team built in the sprint, and ensure that everyone is aware that we couldn't build an increment prior to the sprint review if ever we couldn't build it. It's really not fun and productive for the whole stakeholders, everyone coming in the sprint review and realizing that the team couldn't even build a shippable increment. A shippable increment should be linked to your sprint goal. And as soon as you realize that you can't achieve your sprint goal, raise alarms. Ask for help from stakeholders, from directors, from managers, from anyone. There needs to be someone in the company that can help you resolve these impediments so that you can achieve the sprint goal and build this shippable increment. Next, we need to talk about deadlines. Yeah, missing these deadlines, missing these release dates. It's clear that the team can't get the job done when this happens. But was the job right in the first place? Who set these deadlines? Who picked these release dates? The team, the self-managed and self-organized team, which is supposed to be deciding what to build, how to build it, who builds it, and by when to build it, or a manager somewhere, or a director somewhere, picking these dates for the team, setting deadlines, and forcing the teams to meet these deadlines. If this is true, sorry. The team indeed didn't get the job done, but the job wasn't right in the first place. There's a reason why we tell the teams to estimate their work, do sprint planning, because they are doing the work and they are in the best position. They have all the information to be able to predict the future. Managers are not doing the work. Directors are not doing the work. Do you think they know by when we'll release something? Forcing teams to meet unrealistic deadlines never works. The team will be late. The manager will be mad. The customers will be mad because we already announced to customers that we'll meet these unrealistic release dates. The team will be overworked. doing overtime might make mistakes. Morale will decrease, fall. Motivation will fall. Because of these mistakes, bugs, the customers will have more issues when the product is actually released. And at this point, once morale is down, once motivation, people are no longer driven, a lot of other issues will crop up. As a Scrum Master, the number one thing that you need to do in these kinds of situations is to ensure that the team is allowed to be self-managed, self-organized, empowered, allowed to decide what to build, how to build it, who builds it, and by when, especially by when to build it. We do the sprint planning, right? It's the team who decides what to build every single sprint. But in the quarterly planning, in the yearly planning, it's some director or manager somewhere telling the team what to do. It doesn't make any sense. Use the same approach. Let the people with the data actually doing the work estimate the work. And there's a greater chance that first, you'll be able to meet the release date that the team committed on, and second, that you'll be delivering earlier, simply because the team feels empowered and they are more motivated. And the last common reason why the team is not getting the job done is simply because they lack the skills, the competencies to get the job done. As a Scrum Master, first, let the team know that it's a learning process. We are here to learn. Scrum, Agile, everything is all about learning, experimenting, failing, learning from the failures. It's okay to fail as long as you're learning from these failures. So again, facilitate a session with the team to identify these gaps in skills, in competencies. The whole team, some individuals in the team, you can even do one-to-one sessions if you're not comfortable, or if you feel that the person is not comfortable talking about that in a sprint retrospective, and then let them come up with the problems and the solutions. The solutions might be adding another member to the Scrum team from a different team who has these skills, or taking a course. So many different solutions, but again, let the team tell you what to do. They are aware of the problem. They know what skills, what competencies are lacking. You're just here to support them in their journey, which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.